It's
Evan,
like,
I was telling Lou that last week's episode I fucked up with the social media post.
Mhm.
Um that was the first clip that I saw when I was editing. I saw that clip and I was like, "Oh, this would be a good social media clip." So I pulled it. But
Mhm.
as I kept on editing, there was a better clip that I could have used of when
Yeah.
you started singing Boys to Men
yeah.
when we were talking about D'Angelo Russell and
Yeah.
Rui Hachimura being used like the P. Diddy
Mhm.
house.
Oh, that would have
And
been
I
a
was
good clip.
and I was upset because it was too late.
I mean, but the
Yeah.
other clip was good too, though. The
It
Luca
was.
one, that was good. We got some people commenting on it. It was good.
Yeah, Evan looked. I didn't know how tipsy Evan looked throughout that episode.
Oh, his wife called him out.
Immediately.
I love her though. I love her to death.
Oh, Rick. Once I see
I
him,
love her to death because she'll just go ahead and say it, but it is what it is.
once Sam does this,
And then what happened was
he's in the groove.
my homeboy sent it to me first, like,
Oh, he
why
did
your
for real?
wife caught you out like that, man? And so I said it to her. I like, she was like, yeah, because you
I was
was.
just laughing. You know what I said in my head? Av? Why you telling my business? You
Oh,
said-
Lord.
I think the definition of greatness is to inspire the people next to you. It's not something that lives and dies with one person. It's how can you inspire a person to then in turn inspire another person that then inspires another person. And that's how you create something that I think lasts forever. And I think that's our challenge as people, is to figure out how our story can impact others and motivate them in a way to create their own greatness.
Welcome to the Welcome to the 3-on-3 podcast. I am your guy, Hans, here with my other guy, Evan. What's going on, Ev? How you doing today?
What's good, sir?
Yes, sir. Also, my other homie, Lou. What's up, homie?
Let's rain on that parade. Let's go.
Is it
Oh,
happening?
what?
Oh, there it is.
Finally.
There it is.
Glorious.
We got a little airbender here. Is there any way to do fire or earth? We need to get that going, Christian. We need to get that going.
For him and him only, it never rains in Southern California.
There, see what happens there.
On the
It didn't
fire,
rain that
right?
night either. Didn't. So also we have our pod mobile on the bench, making sure, coaching us, making sure we're doing the things that we need to do to give you guys a fantastic show. We have another great show in store for you today. It was All-Star Weekend. So we're gonna dive into the All-Star Weekend. Now, All-Star Weekend has always been one of my favorite events of the NBA season, honestly, right up there with the playoffs and even the finals. I just remember as a kid sitting down in front of the TV, probably the only TV we had in the house because that's what I grew up in and that's what our socioeconomic status afforded us. And me and my father, we'd watch the NBA All-Star games. And I just remember seeing Jordan just going at it with the other All-Stars there, Ewing. I remember us having multiple All-Star games taped on VHS because they were so legendary. And I would love to go back and watch them day after day, maybe week after week after the All-Star game. It was just always a momentous occasion. Everything would be blocked out. As you know, in my house, well, some of you may know, in my house, like, there's not much that we block out time for, but the All-Star was just always king for me. And I just kept that tradition going on now. My wife knows, yes, it's All-Star Weekend, it's Valentine's weekend, but it's primarily All-Star Weekend, right? So we make things happen, and that's why she's the great wife that she is, love of my life. I love you, baby. So we do stuff for Valentine, but she already knows it's All-Star Weekend. I'm not going to miss any of the All-Star games or events. And I remember my childhood, it never disappointed. I remember rushing back, to school and we talk about, yo, did you see that dunk? Oh my gosh, it was wild. Yo, no, no, no. Did you see when they were going at it at the All-Star game? You saw how Jordan and Kobe were going for, like, those are the things that we talked about when you got back from All-Star, right? Like, those are the things we talked about. Those are the things me and Lou, we talk about, right? When we see each other. Those are the things that we just go on. And that All-Star high, man, it would last you. It would last you a while. And one of the things that I remember notably about this All-Star Weekend was that high, man. I can't remember the last time I've had that high. That high is it's fleeting. It's gone. I feel like I'm fiending for my next All-Star high, and it's been so long since I've had it. Now, granted, I know that the greats of Kobe and Jordan and even like Iverson, I remember his Memento All-Star game, like those greats are gone. They're not in the game now, but yet and still we have greats of our own. And I just can't help but wonder, if we have these great caliber players, why are we not getting that great all-star product? Why am I not getting that high? Why am I not pressing record on my DVR, making sure I got all these moments that I can rewatch? Why am I not discussing it with my homeboys and getting on the chat? Where's the all-star high? Where is it gone? Ev, throwing it to you, man. Am I tripping? Am I now the old man on my porch talking about back in my day, this is how we did this, et cetera, et cetera? Or has All-Star lost some of its luster? Is it diluted now? What's your take, man, on this All-Star weekend?
A lot of thoughts on it, and I won't go over the entire weekend. I'll touch on the game itself first, and then we can jump more into it. But you bring up the old man part. One of the things where I feel like an old man is, I could have sworn when I was little, the All-Star game started by like 6, 7 o'clock. Like this, the 8:45 on the East Coast. I already killed your boy last night, man. I was about asleep by the time Jennifer Hudson came out, right? But that's not what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
It used to be in the middle of the day too, back in the
Listen,
day.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was at like 3. It used to be back in
Okay.
the middle of the day. Yeah.
I'm gonna give you an example how I
Maybe a
know
little
it
bit
started
earlier than that
earlier.
because they didn't West Coast time. Probably started about 4 or 5. Definitely.
It was early.
East Coast time. So early afternoon, West Coast.
I'll tell you how I knew it started earlier, and I don't want to get in trouble by things you think you remember as a kid. You might be wrong, but I'm almost 100% certain
What's the name of that again?
I don't remember. Somebody smarter will get it to us. Pop Mom, but let us know what that's called. But remember when Allen Iverson used to drop the commercials at the All-Star game, and I think he dropped the one with Jadakiss at the All-Star game when he hit the move, when he bounced it around him like that. I remember going outside at halftime of that All-Star game and practicing that move. So I know it didn't happen at 9 o'clock at night when I saw it. So the All-Star game started earlier, but that's not what you talk. That's not even what you bringing up right now.
It ties in, though. But look how dope that was that you ran outside and did that.
Absolutely. And the other part of it was Iverson.
Mandela effect.
Yes, on the court. There we go. See, I told you that, man.
I didn't know what you guys were asking until I saw it in the chat. My bad.
I got these smart individuals working with me.
I knew what's coming, though. I was like, it's
right. All right. Here's my issue with the game. LeBron played 10 minutes or 14 minutes, right? And one thing that I'll give LeBron credit for is in the second half of games, he picks it up. He brings the intensity, right? Or All-Star games. LeBron wasn't out there, and the superstars, they didn't bring it. My wife mentioned to me in the first quarter, she was seeing who was playing, and because like Embiid was out in the East, she knew a couple folks, but a lot of the folks on the East, she was like, who are these folks, right? Like, I don't really know who they are. But she knew KD, she knew Kawhi, she knew Steph, she knew Luka, she knew Jokic, Jokic. But half of them weren't taking the game seriously. And when you're superstars, right, your A-level names don't look like they're taking the game seriously, the game's going to be a joke. And then you wonder why the B-level stars aren't taking the game seriously. Now, I'll give the B-level stars this credit, though. You look at on the East, There's a little too much Jaylen Brown for my liking, but it's cool.
A whole lot of Jaylen Brown.
Okay, it wasn't just me. There was a
No,
lot
I
of
was like,
Jaylen
dude, you made
Brown.
your money. What are you trying to prove? You're the
Right.
richest man in the NBA. You got it. You did it.
But I give him this.
I gotta
He
give
doesn't know how to be a superstar. He knows how to be a star, and that's just play ball. Tyrese Halliburton, he know what to do, right? He don't know how to be a superstar, but he knows how to pass to the open man. So the East was just playing, we don't know how to be superstars. We just know how to be good, fundamental basketball. And then Dame shooting from half court. And they were putting up a lot of points. But the superstars were out here playing around, make really embarrassing themselves, in my opinion. And that's how they allowed 200 points to get blown out in an All-Star game.
Yeah.
And LeBron wasn't there to get the tone set
Corral 'em.
back right. Yeah, so that's the part that bothered me about the game in general.
So here's the thing, right? Here's where I'll disagree with you, Evan, in terms of though the sentiment of Jaylen Brown not knowing how to be a superstar, I can agree with. But the essence of what he was doing is what all the superstars before him have done and taking the game serious, participating in the various events. And, you bring up a name that is a catalyst to why we are now with how stars view the All-Star game, All-Star weekend. And that's LeBron James, realistically, because at the end of it, starting from 2003, there's no reason why LeBron shouldn't have been in the dunk contest. There's no reason why LeBron shouldn't have done the dunk contest. And we've seen a trickle-down effect. And Hans, the dunk contest is the favorite event of mine when it comes to All-Star.
That's what Luke comes in for the All-Star.
Okay,
Bruh.
Stephen A.
Do not put me and Stephen A in the same category. This man,
You and him both have the same idea. That is LeBron's fault.
first of all, he did well. It is. I mean, look, when you have the premier guy not come in and do that event, and then now what other big names have done it since? You want to bring up Dwight Howard, Blake. Okay,
That's it.
Yeah,
Zach
that's
LaVine?
the list.
that's you know what I mean. And
That's
to
the
be
list.
real, yeah, and I mean to be real, I mean it's sparsely been good since. Since that time, I mean, we've had some trickle, but realistically, the best one that we've seen has been almost a decade. And that's when we've seen Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon go at it in 2016. The dunk contest, but it's been talked about probably ad nauseum at this point about how the dunk contest has really been one of the things that people were excited to come see, but has had probably the strongest fall off. But yeah, now, I mean, LeBron sets the pace, whether that's on his teams that he plays, and how he galvanizes the players on the court, and also the trends that he starts, as the face of having been the face of the league for so long. And guys that are in the league now grew up watching him, idolizing him. So, part of whatever that atmosphere, whatever that culture was, the culture has shifted. And it happens when you have your elder statesmen who don't take it serious. But what I will say in terms of a positive, because McClung winning it, cool. Shout out to Jaylen Brown participating. Probably not somebody I would want to see participate. But what I will say is, one of the great things that I did really enjoy that they had to do is, Sabrina Vassef. I think that was a great aspect to All-Star Weekend that they brought in. And then also giving some visibility to the WNBA stars and their skill, their caliber of talent. And then, you have these two premier shooters, which was exciting to me. I think the three-point competition is one of the ones that it really never really falls off. Because, at the end of the day, you're always going to have shooters, especially where we are in the league now. So I think those two competitions were great. And I also think the skills challenge is something that really doesn't miss. The celebrity game is always going to be the celebrity game. The celebrity game is more competitive than the actual All-Star game. And, I think that it's actually pretty sad that, the stars don't take it. All right, if it's going to just be that, then it's no different than the Pro Bowl. I can count on I'm trying to think how many
fingers to use?
You know, I'm trying to find something less.
You got 10 fingers, Lou, just letting you know.
Yeah, I'm trying to find something less. You know, how can
Yes, sure.
you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, realistically, who watches the Pro Bowl? Who watches the Pro Bowl? And this is what the NBA All-Star game has kind of become, is what the Pro Bowl is. And if anything, people are more interested in the skills challenges that they've done in the Pro Bowl. If you remember years ago, they used to have the quarterback see how far, who could throw the furthest, and so on in these types of events. But nobody actually watched the game. They took their tackling out of it. You know, and so they're in essence playing flag football. Nobody watches the Pro Bowl. NBA All-Star Weekend, specifically the game, that's where it's trending, if it's not there already. So I'll be surprised what they want to do. I don't really think there's necessarily going to be much change that we can do if the players don't care. But yeah, man, unfortunately, NBA All-Star Weekend it has been lackluster as of at least a decade.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up that aspect of it. It's not a NBA problem exclusively, right? So all the other markets have seen dips in their all-star version of whatever they're doing. But NBA has been king in regards of their all-star and the draw that it has, the numbers, and it's always been king. Their all-star weekend has been better than everybody. And I, for one, am just as shocked and odd as you guys that the NBA has not figured out what to do. Now, granted, I do agree that the top half of our stars, they have a lot to do with it, right? So Ev was very, very wise in putting it out there and basically saying that once Kobe passed the baton to LeBron kind of set the tone, right? Became the face of the NBA, the ambassador, and he sets the tone for a lot of things and changes that happen in the NBA. I've called it. If LeBron is into the in-season tournament, the NBA is going to be into the in-season tournament, right? The rest of the stars are going to follow in. We saw that, right? And we got a great in-season tournament. It would stand to reason if LeBron's not being competitive in the All-Star game, then we're not going to see that as well, too. But it can't all just be LeBron, man. It can't all just be LeBron. Like, somebody has to summon the gumption and be like, look, let's get out there. But we've lost the pride in the game. Look at Ant. Look at Ant, man. And I'm gonna call it youthful ignorance. His statement. I'm gonna couch it under that. But I don't have the direct quote in front of me. But he basically said that the All-Star game is like a break to him. It's a break. Nobody takes it seriously. Yeah, it's fun, but nobody's gonna be out there to be competitive because they just view it as a break. Now, he's not wrong in that sense. It's a break for all the other players, right? Those who are not stars. But also, I feel like he's undermining the heritage and the pride that you should have to be considered an all-star and what it means. And I think that's just his youthful ignorance. Well, where are the old heads who's supposed to tell him how serious that this is? You get what I mean? Like,
I'm sure
where's
he would have a different perspective if he wasn't named an All-Star. You know, and I think that's part of the thing is you really have. We talked about this, right? In terms of like people being named All-Stars and some getting strictly off the name. We've talked about Fox or Sabonis, these guys who, deserve to really be All-Stars, but not. And I think that's part of the issue is you don't respect the title of being named an All-Star. So with feeling like, okay, well, I'm the most popular, or now don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking Ant Skill at all. He clearly is the guy in Minnesota. But let's say Fox gets in over him. I don't think he says the same thing. Because you'll get a break, but I'm sure you would want to be on that stage, being able to showcase what you can do. And I mean, and I know some people have either they're with it or they're not with Kobe's comments about like people want to see the greatest pickup game on earth. There's a reason why we see all the All-Stars. We want to see what it's look like to get the quote unquote bum asses out of here and see the cream of the crop really go at it, even if it's not all 4 quarters. We know at least the last quarter and a half, after y'all done got your tricks out the way, we wowed the crowd, we gave them a show.
Bro.
We want to win, especially if you have an East versus West type of. I mean, that type of pride, I think also got diluted once they went away from things. But I understand trying to change, try to get people into it by changing up the pace and the format. But yeah, that overall pride is gone.
Well, here's the thing, though. I have no issue with what Anthony Edwards said, because what I like about Anthony Edwards is he keeps it real. And what he said, I didn't take it as his feelings solely. I took it as what he sees in that locker room, what he sees in his community. So he was shining a light on what all those guys feel, or what a lot of those guys feel.
He can't set the tone. He can't set the tone himself.
About to say that's
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. But what I'm saying is, he's telling the news, is what I'm saying. He's not making the news.
Yeah, but
in my opinion,
bold enough to say that news. Why
Here's
is he
my thing,
bold
though.
enough to do
I would
different?
agree with you.
Because he's
Ev.
bold enough to do anything else. So
that's what you
would-
saw
I
on the
would
court.
agree.
That's what you saw on the court last night.
I would agree with you, Ev, if he left it there.
yeah,
But there's one thing to, okay, it's one thing to talk about what's going on in the locker room, and it's another thing to participate in what's going on in the locker room.
I don't disagree.
Granted, that's why I couched it under his youthful ignorance, meaning he's so young. He wasn't there when Kobe was there. He wasn't, you get what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't there when Jordan, like, he wasn't there. So he doesn't know any better, because the environment he's coming into, they're lackadaisical with it. You get what I'm saying? So, like, in that sense, I kind of agree with you. But also, he participated in that as well. So that's why I can't say he's just reporting it. He's an active participant as well. Because if you go as far and say, oh, yeah, I'm going to just play all left-handed, you're participating in basically saying
your
this is not
mindset
that
going
deep.
in. Exactly.
So
bro.
that's why I would disagree. Like, yes, he's reporting it, but he's also participating and saying, yeah, I'm going to just go play left-handed. And
And he's
see
not a
what I
rookie
can do.
no
Like,
more. He's not a rookie no more. All right. You
I
coming
think
up.
this is his first All-Star game, though.
It doesn't matter though. What does that have to do with
But I guess my point is to what you
Ain't good
just
enough
said
to do it
before
left-handed.
this. Before what you had just said before this, Lou, and it was what I was thinking even before you said it. Like, when you get on the court, right, with 9 other players, and there's 9 of the best players, right? You never get an opportunity to do that. So you would think your basketball ego, your basketball pride will kick in, like, oh, we about to ball for real now, right? Because we got the best here, and we don't never see that. But for a group of guys to show up, and this goes back to my whole superstar versus the stars thing, right? I feel like the East was, they was on the vibe, but okay, yeah, we here to kick it, to kiki, whatnot. But we gonna keep getting these points and bust y'all up if y'all going to, because we still busting KD and LeBron and Steph up. So yeah, it's all cool now, but nah, y'all ain't cutting this lead though, because I feel like the East was caught in between the two. We want to be cool like it is to be cool, but we enjoying whooping up on y'all, even if y'all think it's all games. And so that's my problem, is that there was too much, and it's been this for a few years, but especially now, there was too much of, oh, we just here to have fun, versus why isn't there we showing up the ball against the best one night only?
so to F's credit, I agree, because there was a couple points in the game where you saw the West kind of play defense, but what happened was it was never the whole 5 deciding to play defense. It was always at most 3, right? And the East was just like, well, we're still gonna put up these buckets because at the end of the day, like, we're gonna do this. But I agree with that. But the thing is, there was never that whole motion like, hey, nobody, like, you know, we've been there. You know, when you're playing and you're getting bust, like you're getting it handed to you the first couple points.
You like, hey yo, okay.
There's always that one person that looks around and looks at you like, hey yo, tighten up.
Yeah, like let's go. Like that was cool. People got they alley oops off
Right, like
now. Let's
D
ball.
up. Yeah,
Let's-
D up. And
Can I
it was
push
never
back?
that collective.
Can I push back on what you said, Hans, that Anthony Edwards didn't grow up watching a competitive game in the All-Star game?
I didn't say he didn't grow up. I said he didn't come into the NBA that Kobe was in, Jordan was in, or
Okay,
anything
because
like that.
yeah,
He wasn't in that.
right. Because he was in high school in 2016 when Kobe was D'ing up Braun 94 feet
Mhm.
in the fourth quarter. So like he's seen the All-Star game being competitive. So the idea of, well, he came in and it wasn't like that. It's not like he hasn't seen it. He
Well,
grew up on it.
Right.
But
I
let's
understand.
be. Go ahead, Hans.
I understand that he grew up on it, but at the same time, I hate to take the psychological part of it.
Let's go,
Groupthink
sports
is group-
psychologist. Tell us what
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is.
Like groupthink is groupthink. Groupthink is a powerful motion. It's a powerful entity.
Yep.
Groupthink is groupthink. As a people, we're taking the route of less resistance 100%, 99% of the time. So, although he may have witnessed that, when he got to the real entity and saw that the competitive nature in terms of All-Star was just, hey, we're happy to be here. We're happy to be here because he, in fact, has nothing to lose.
Mhm.
Right now, when it comes to on the court competitive regular season play, that's different because he already has that locked in. That's still permissive in there. That's a whole nother story. But groupthink is a hard thing to overcome. And the fact of the matter is, as people, we're always going to take the route least resistance to change. So that
All I know is
that's
that
what's
Kobe is
happening
rolling
there.
in his grave watching this bullshit happen every fucking year, and his name is attached to that All-Star game MVP.
Yeah, I would be sick too. But not just that. Let's be real. The entire landscape and competitive nature of basketball has changed all the way down to the youth in the AAU league. This is why you have guys of LeBron's era that are cool with saying, all right, man, let's just link up. Instead of, remember, we moved from where guys had pride in their teams to like, nah, I'm never teaming up with you. I'm going to try to kill you every time. So we got to a point where, guys are like, well, all right, we can hi, kiki, you know what I mean? Like, we want to make a team. We want to win a chip. It's important. But yeah, that thinking is going all the way down into AAU. So they pick and choose when to turn it on. Like, yeah, what was it? There was a question that got asked, I think it was Devin Booker. It's like, oh, what's the one rule you would change in the NBA? Back-to-back games. It's like back-to-back games are a big deal now. And even listening and seeing how they're talking about how these kids in AAU now are being coached and played. Calipari was talking about it. It's like they show up they don't have practices. They have a week in the tournaments. They come in on the day of the tournament. They might do something prior to, and then they just play ball.
Go ahead. I have a theory on there, and we might have to save it for another show and another episode. But my theory is because they don't have to go to college. It messes everything up. Reason, and we'll tease it and we'll get into that, but like it ruins that camaraderie, right? Like think about how college sports as a whole doesn't deal with competition issues.
No, they don't.
It doesn't deal with competition on every level. You know what I'm saying? College football, college basketball. It doesn't, because think about how you're indoctrinated and ingrained for those colors, that banner, that mascot that you ride for. You get what I'm saying? Like
that's how you keep your scholarship. So
yeah, they breed that into you. You get what I'm saying? That sense of pride, that you get what I mean? Like that's bred into you. That AAU landscape's not like that. If you don't like it here, you jump and go over there. You get what I'm saying? Like they're already.
You should not be that way. Like you could not. Yeah. So but I agree with you. From a fundamental level, the way that competition is viewed has definitely changed.
Right.
And we can talk about that definitely another story.
But talking about fixes, what do we do? What is the solution? We'll start with the All-Star game. What is the solution? How do we fix the All-Star game? How do we make it better or get it somewhat close to how we had it before, when I was sitting there as a little Haitian boy, just looking at his idols ball out? How do we fix it, man? Whoever wants to go first, who has ideas?
I think we don't change. I think, I don't think there is a thing to change, in terms of, I think they've done all the remixing on the format they can. I'd say just do it like football season, put it at the end. Give them a break. like they're doing it with everything else. Give everybody, whether it's bye weeks or if they want to take the soccer model, give them a break. Straight up, just a break. And then y'all come back for the second half of the season. If y'all don't care about it to make it competitive, the NBA is going to start losing money because the viewership is going to go down. Just play it at the end of the season, that break right between the playoffs. And then, instead of having the guys that are going to be playing in the playoffs, playing there, only the guys that won't be in the playoffs, you can have those stars have something to feel like they have something to play for. But to have guys just in the middle of the season who's just not going to take this game seriously, and then for us to continue to have these conversations, not worth it.
Okay. What you got, Ev?
I have two things. One is not the game itself, it's a different night. But for the game itself,
Let's just start with the game.
I don't think it'll be fixed until this current crop retires.
Fades out.
The old heads fade out, and we public
Kind of
shame.
like racism, right? You gotta get rid of
I'm
the
just
old
saying.
generations out.
I think enough public shame. I think
Bring back shame. God, I love
Exactly.
public shame.
yes, I think we're 2 years
my
away
bell.
from a great. I think we're 2 years away from a great.
Larry Bird
All-Star
tried to
game.
shame them before the game even started. He was like, "I hope you guys can keep it competitive."
They don't respect him.
Like
Shame.
it's
The,
not.
the old guys are too cool. I think what you said about Ant, I think Ant would have done this, might have done the things you're talking about, being a tone setter if he was a starter.
Bullshit.
Coming off,
He purposely shot left-handed in the skills competition.
If it was him versus Shea on the going head to head,
So then what? One-on-one tournament?
nobody else.
One-on-ones?
I'm just
One-on-one
talking-
tournament?
not straight one-on-ones. What I mean is what I mean by
I get
this
what he's saying.
is they've seen a
Bro, let
lot
Ev get his
of.
take. Go ahead.
They've
Yeah.
seen a lot of, yeah, T-Mac threw the ball off the backboard and dunked it in the All-Star game, but it was in the midst of decent competition when he did so. Yeah, some of the highlights that we saw in the All-Star games, like they happened organically, but they were in the midst of decent competition, right? These guys got to get they got to get embarrassed enough to start mattering about what it
Proper
looks like on
motivation.
Sunday.
Okay.
Exactly.
It's gonna be just like with Olympic stuff until they get punched in the mouth
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
it fails.
Gotcha.
I got
Go ahead.
no. You cue me up when I can. I got a question for y'all about Friday night, but
Hold on.
But,
Can't go to Friday.
yeah,
I
I'll
got
hold
my
it. I'll
solution.
hold it.
I got my solution.
absolutely.
He get the in-season tournament championship.
Christian, I need you to open up another tab.
You want full Champions League type action going.
I
You
need
want a
your
whole
email. I need
separate-
your email going up so you can write a strongly worded email to Adam. Okay, you got
There
it
you
queued up,
go.
Christian. Start typing. All right,
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Don't worry.
you got me. All right. So here's my solution. Here's my solution. It's of the same vein of competitive nature that Ed was doing. I think the NBA tapped into something when they made it similar to street ball, right? Where you were picking. But what they did was they half-stepped. You can't go halfway. You got to go all the way. They already have a model that's actually working on Friday night that they can pull from, which is the Rising Stars. So here's my solution, okay? Here's my solution. You make it tournament style. You got 20 All-Stars, okay? 20 All-Stars. That's 4 teams of 5. What you do is the top 4 vote getters, they're captains. And each man gets to pick their squad, okay? So whoever's the top vote getter, LeBron, Giannis, whatever, he picks first, followed to the 4th. And then the 4th, they get their pick, and then they pick twice, and it goes 4, 3, 2, 1. And you just keep
They snake
the
it.
snake, and you just keep doing that. You get your squad, right? Similar to what they do in the Rising Stars. You bracket it out. 2-2. Whoever wins, they go against each other. And you put a point margin, just like we do, right? When we're on the court, it's to 11, right? Win by 2 or whatever. You do the same thing. So that way, it's different squads. They're not, all together. Who's doing this? No. My 5 versus your 5. Let's get this. Put some money on the table as well. And it's different because if I'm LeBron, I pick this, I pick that, and we're going against them. We have to be, to me, that sets up a different arena of competition. that's as close as you're going to get, in my opinion, to 1v1, which you're never going to do. Nobody wants to sully their brand like that. You get what I'm saying? And get busted on and get embarrassed, which is why they don't do the dunk contest. LeBron don't want to get embarrassed, right? So
Because he knows he only got one dunk.
right, imagine
Let's
LeBron
be
versus
real,
Blake
like this-
Griffin. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
thank you.
Or
Thank
or J.R. Smith.
Right, like
Or
it's
Josh
not
Smith.
gonna happen. Right, it's not gonna happen. So that to me is a fix. Like you have it right there. Make them pick. I would watch that. I would tune in to see. Let's get it. I think that's for me. That's the solution. That gets because it breaks up the whole, like the clique of East versus West or LeBron's team versus that. Because at the end of the day, not everybody's gonna get the same run on the court. But when you pick your 5, it's just those 5. You're just gonna get that run. Let's make it happen. Like to
Nothing
me,
was
that's
funnier.
different.
Nothing was funnier to me when LeBron tried to finagle KD into choosing James Harden with his last pick.
That was
I thought that shit was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
That was comedy.
Oh,
That was
man.
coming.
LeBron
Kenny
was
was
petty for
petty.
that too.
I love this idea. Hans, you did your homework this week.
Hey man,
Good
I'm
job,
here.
sir. Good job.
It's
I got
All-Star
one.
weekend, man.
I got one addition to add to. If you could put this at the bottom of the strongly worded email.
Yes.
Okay,
So
let
the team,
let me double space real quick. All right, you good.
Yeah, go ahead.
the team that loses first has to go sit in a public shame box.
Okay.
I'll take it a
Public
step
shame.
further. I'll take it a step further. The stars, the all-stars that perform the worst, ineligible to be all-stars the following year.
Ooh. Ooh. I like that.
I take it
That's
like
money.
But this is the same way that I felt like in terms of the league. How do you get away from the teams that don't care? We have the teams that, top market teams, they're always going to compete to win. Mid-table teams, they're like, we're just happy to get to the second round. And then they got the other teams that are like, we know we're going to sell out. Sorry, the Knicks used to fall into that category. We know we're going to sell out regardless. We don't care if we win a game or not. If relegation was a
He did
real
that,
thing.
He did. He just slid by a day.
Nah, man, this is
A little Nick shot. Pop, pop, pop.
It was-
Real
it
quick.
was-
Real
it
quick.
was-
Real
It was
quick.
for a couple weeks ago. I'm gonna let you. I mean, I told you I was going.
You know what? That's fair. That's
You know what I mean?
undeserved 2 weeks ago, Lou.
You know what I mean?
No further comment from me. Keep cooking.
Lou doesn't forget. Lou doesn't forget, man.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like that. My man said. But the if relegation like happened in club soccer, right? That where hey, look, man, the bottom 2 teams, the G League isn't good enough. But if it was, hey, you bottom 2 teams, the top 2 teams in the G League will come take your spot in the East, or whether you want to, or if you want to do it by conference, Atlantic Conference, or so Pacific, so on. But I would do the same thing with All Stars. Hey, look, it's a high honor to be named an All Star. Come out here and perform. And if you're not performing, if you're not trying to perform, and it shows, guess what? Sorry, no All Star for you next year.
That's deep. That's deep. My only issue with that is if we go by that, right? It's the snake draft. That's a fan voted, right? So imagine who was the 4th highest, right? It was Giannis, LeBron. Who was 3rd? Was it Steph? I can't remember off the top.
I'd have to go back and look, but
Of the highest, but like you could have somebody possibly like Steph-ish, Luka-ish. Like that's a tough sell. But I do think there needs to be some type of, like you said, relegation. So like just like back in the day where they punish teams for tanking. You get what I mean? Like there has to be some type of way to regulate that. But yeah, man, I feel like that's the closest you're gonna get to one-on-one. That's the closest you're gonna get to it. If I get to pick my squad and I'm like, look, this is who I'm rolling with, and think about how it feels. Think about how it feels. Let's say LeBron doesn't pick up AD on his first pick. If I'm AD, I'm going at you. Just think about, you know what I'm saying? Like think about how that feels. Like to me, that's gonna muster up. Also, too, it gives incentive for cats to ball out so they could be fan favorites. So they're think about them wanting to be fan favorites. Oh, Pop Mamba has the rankings. He's gonna send it to us as soon as he gets it up there.
No,
but think about
for the East, Tyrese was number one for fan rank, and then Giannis was first for the forwards, and then or the front court, and then Luka was first for the guards, and LeBron was for the front court.
okay.
I know I thought it was Steph, but I guess Luka was.
Okay. Yeah,
He
it
made
was
an
Luka.
embarrassment of himself. Luka struggles in All-Star games, but for
He
whatever
struggled
reason,
when he got hung by the rim.
he did.
Gosh.
He did.
That's because
And-
look,
and
Luca.
let's be
yeah.
honest.
You-
Let's we selling the lead here. Let's be honest with Hines' biggest issue with the All-Star game was that Cat dropped 50. Let's be
about to
honest.
say-
We talk about all this
100%.
other stuff, okay?
That's not my issue. Here's what it is. You know what Cat has shown me? Cat overperforms
when it
just
doesn't
to lose.
Yeah.
Just to lose, man. That man dropped 50 and he lost. Come on, man. That's
He
Cat doing
didn't-
Cat things, man.
Didn't Chuck say,
being
"Oh, there goes
Cat.
Cat again, scoring 40, but still down 20," just
Yeah,
like his
like,
old,
that's-
just like his old Wolves days.
Cat doing Cat things, man.
That's
I
horrible,
expected him to
man.
drop 60, man.
Yeah.
Cat doing Cat things.
Hey man, you gotta score 70 to win, right?
Now listen.
Yo, look, I think Luka's a great player. Luka's a better version than Devin Booker.
Oh,
Listen, man.
stop
All
We're gonna
these-
debate
all
that
these
another
shots-
time. He's just a better version than Devin Booker. That's
You're
it.
not gonna sit here and
Wow.
call Luka Doncic a bag of chips, man.
Wow.
Stop it. Oh my gosh.
What has it
man.
translated into?
You know they beat Devin Booker.
All I
Devin
know is that
Booker's team.
Luka looked
That's
Luka-
the worst person to use.
Luka
Because I
looked
said
like
he's
he
a
had the
better
He
most.
beat the supposed bag of chips, though.
The
That's
better
what I'm
version.
saying.
He's the better version.
Oh,
So
okay.
I would
so
expect
he
him to
beat the
do
better
that.
version of himself.
You know, he's a better version of Devin Booker. Yes, he's upgraded. He's the family size bag of chips.
He's oh my god.
Built that way too, but that's another conversation.
Luka looked like he had the
Wow.
most fun. Luka looked like he had the most fun when he was playing with Nikola.
Oh
Them two
it's like-
look like
Those are
Will
buddies.
Ferrell and John C. Riley and Step Brothers, bro.
Step Brothers.
they were way too, bruh. They was showing the clip. It was like, yo, what was it? LeBron after playing with Steph and Luka, him and AD playing with Steph and Luka, mad as hell. They got to go back and play with D'Lo and Austin Reeves.
Listen, they were having fun. There was a European connection there for real.
for them too? Oh yeah, for sure.
A European connection there for
They
real.
were
But
doing
also,
Oh, when your
I
boy
was-
Brunson went to go dap Luka, nigga, Joker was looking like, my man.
like he
Stop
was hurt.
that. Stop trying to bring that old thing back. Nah, it's over between y'all. He's mine.
Oh,
He's mine. For tonight, he's mine.
What I was
Never mind.
reminded of was
He's looking
I was
like a
telling my
nice
wife-
date on Manhattan Beach.
they nothing tops that though. Nothing
The
tops
the
that.
Slovenians and the Serbans, they live next to each other, or they're the area that they're at.
Yeah.
They're so close to each other. They're the people.
So-
They're very interconnected. So and they have a huge history dating back to
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
the 1900s. Yeah.
Before we go any further, I'd just like to say Mandela effect, geography, history. Y'all don't see it, but Pod Mamba is on fire tonight. All right, continue.
He's on there. Very much so. Very much so. But no, they definitely had a connection. But one thing I was reminded of, which kind of made me sad as well too, was that these cats are literally out here letting this old man bust them every day. And I'm talking about Nikola Jokic, who can't get up off the floor to make a dunk. This man looked, I don't think I've seen him look the worst, like unathletic as I saw him in the All-Star game. Like compared to everybody flying up and down, him and Luka just look like, man, how are they doing this? But like they knew they couldn't wow or give the showmanship like everybody else.
Yeah.
Was. Also,
my problem with that though is that the showmanship. I feel like they were mocking in a way the other folks because the showmanship
Thank you. I agree.
It's not organic. It's not organic. It's like showmanship at the sake of real basketball.
So
And
here's
so
my thing.
like I felt like they're
I
making
agree. I
mockery.
agree they were, but here's what I know too. Mockery sometimes is a part or sort of deflection. So if I know I can't jump in the air like a LeBron does, I'm gonna
Self-deprecation.
mock.
Self-deprecation. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna mock what LeBron does and make fun of it. So that's what I'm gonna do. So granted, that's always been a part of it, even back when they were competitive, right? I remember KG getting lobs from Kobe when he was with the Timberwolves. Like I remember those. Like that's always been a part of it. Like the alley oops, the high flying, like the first quarter of it. Like that's always been the thing. They couldn't do that because don't forget first, Halliburton was shooting threes. You get what I'm saying? And like so like that's what Luka could do, but he wasn't starting. He wasn't doing that to start. Now, granted, one could argue Luka's heart wasn't in it anyway, right? He was one of those players we say that wasn't taking it seriously as well, too. But I guess what I'm saying is, yes, they were mocking it, but also mocking it to the fact that they couldn't do it, i.e. Luka getting hung.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like with Steph, you know, when they do this, Steph did that joint where everybody in the line, they dunking, and he come up to dunk, he fake dunk, and he's like, nah, I'm alley-oop this. Self-deprecation, because it's at the end of the day, you know what you can and you can't do. So them doing that, you know, him getting hung on the rim, people are gonna laugh about it, but nobody's gonna be like, oh man, he a bum, because they know what he can do at the end of the day. It's a testament to two things. One, the fact that when it comes down to it, they show the gap between these two guys, these two European guys, and their basketball skill, their fundamental skill, as opposed to the rest of the league. I would argue that those two guys are better basketball players than 90% of the players in the league. And as opposed to just pure athleticism, you know, and skill-wise, what they, you know, a lot of these guys can do, like Ant and so on. You know, these are the things, these are part of the game that, you know, naturally during the All-Star game that you want to see. You guys are supposed to do those things, but supposed to turn around at some point, drill down, and get back to the basics so, you know, we can have a competitive game.
Side note, totally unrelated. What's more embarrassing than getting hung in the middle of a game? What's more embarrassing than that? So think about it. You're on a breakaway in a real game, in a breakaway. You're going down and you get hung. Is there anything more embarrassing?
Yeah, getting your joint. Getting your joint, I don't know. I think getting your joint punched, like I don't know, man. Getting your joint punched, like, you know, there's
dropping to the floor after getting crossed over, I feel like is more embarrassing.
Oh yeah.
Touching earth. So touching earth is more embarrassing than getting hung.
Now, like touching earth, like you fell, took a trip, and like
the severities of all of it.
Like what's it called? McDaniels when he got crossed up by AI.
But he did
that's worse than getting hung, because he's like, you can mistime the dunk. You know what I mean?
But he did a skippity doo bop.
The thing is, he touched it first to try to come back again.
Yeah.
I'm still falling.
It's not even it's not even like tripping over yourself. It's just like your knees buckling. Like that, and then they score on you.
You know, because if they score on top of it, it's just over.
That's more embarrassing than getting hung
or getting jumped over.
It depends. So, all right.
Like that DeAndre Jordan.
If Ja would have connected on that
Kevin Love
or Anthony Davis dunk, that would have been two of the most embarrassing dunks of all time. But he didn't connect.
He roasted to Steve Nash,
so we don't get to talk about it. Yes. And as far as getting hung, I think it's the severity of the dunk. Luka was somewhat trying something, so I don't think it was quite as bad as if he had just went up and got hung. Like that looks like, oh, you need to order the jump soles for like 3 more months before you try to dunk again.
I guess that's one of my fears.
Get your ankle weights.
Yeah.
That's one of my fears, like getting hung. That's one of my fears. How you go back to your squad and be like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna let you hear it.
everybody who's dunked before, it happens. It
Yeah.
happens. It happens. It
I
happens.
think the
I'm talking
crossover.
about in the game though. It happens, but in the game,
Yeah,
in the
I
game,
think
it happens.
Yeah.
But in the game, like I've been hung before in practice but in the game, come on, fam. I don't know. I just know like
I was
yo,
just like,
It's
hey yo,
the
hey yo,
hey yo,
Give
hey
me a
ma,
finger.
I'm
It's the
riding back
mix of
home with you. I'm
emotion.
not getting on that
Yeah.
bus.
it's
Why
the
take
emotional
me off?
roller. It's the emotional roller coaster of it because you get that instant when the dunk's about to happen, and then
Listen,
for you to then get hung, it's like you took the rush of emotion and you brought it right back down to embarrassment. So
bro, I'll never forget it. I had I'm so scared of it. We had this church league against a rival church. It's a Haitian church league. Matter of fact, I think we played against them that one time you came down, Ev, when we played.
don't bring that day up to me, man.
Oh, my bad. That's we're still yeah, last minute. Anyway,
I let you
we can
down.
talk
I'm
about that.
sorry.
Yeah, we can talk about that. That's last minute. Anyway, so rival game is heated to the point where I'm talking about like this is supposed to be a church league. We prayed, y'all. We went to church together. We had AY together. We prayed before the game.
I want hands.
No, hands almost had like we had to separate cats on the court. It was wild. You know how Haitian
Oh,
events
yeah.
get when they're all riled up.
Oh yeah.
So, it could break family ties. So anyway,
Facts.
this team, the funny thing is, the team I was playing for, I attended a church here and there, but not like that. But I was drafted, whatever. So we're playing and we're winning. And, this is a long time coming, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm so scared of that breakaway dunk. I'm playing good help defense. I see a pass coming. I anticipate it, knock it. I'm on the straightaway. All I hear from the crowd, dunk it, dunk it. I'm like, I'm not feeling. But we take that first step.
You gauging.
Just not
You
so sure.
You're like, lift off is not happening.
Hey, listen, that first gather app, we like,
Listen, you gotta know you can dunk if you're going up to dunk,
bro,
like
that
in the
first
game.
gather, I'm
Especially
like,
when everybody calling your name. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I'm just gonna do a real fancy layup here, man.
Yes, I'd have slapped glass so clean.
Hey,
Alright.
I did slap glass though.
Absolutely,
But fancy
you gotta
layup,
listen.
bang.
If you know you
the-
can't
the
dunk,
roll,
slap
the
glass, all
The
right?
jelly, you hit the jelly.
Hey man, I had to do something real quick, but that's one of my fears, man. Like I go up, break away, all on me, and I get hung, man. What am I supposed to say, man? Say, I feel like touching earth. You could blame that. Oh, the floor is slippery. My sneakers,
That's
No,
how you
Lou talking about that legit touching Earth,
No,
that
that's the
you
one
were
that's
on an
like-
island and you
Oh.
got hit with a hurricane on that
Bro,
island.
You straight on skates. And
Yeah,
your
you
first
gotta
time.
foul that dude.
No
chuck him.
skip, no.
You gotta chuck him.
Yeah,
It's not just a quick nah, it's
nah. It's the odd and the comeback to it. It's to really set you down.
once you hit one of these
Mhm,
and you sliding, yeah, it's like, oh wow.
mhm.
Because
Feel like you got church shoes on.
the
Yeah.
announcer going crazy, like, oh, whoa, because it
Yeah.
gets hyped when they hit you with the move initially.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
the
Oh.
announcer, the crowd. Yeah, I don't know. For me, that getting hung, man, that's tough. That's
Yeah.
tough.
On a
can't say.
breakaway, it is tough. On a breakaway, it is tough. On a breakaway, it is tough. Especially if it's like, yo, if it's a close game, look, man, hey, my adrenaline might be too high. Let's win the game, guys. Let's just win the game.
I get you with a tip dunk all day though.
Oh,
All day,
man. Bruh.
all day.
Fast break. Put that up in the air, baby. Let's go. Put that up in the air.
I get off the rebound all day, son. All day.
Put that in the air.
All right. Last thoughts real quick. Should the NBA bring back another event or have other players do what Steph and Sabrina did? Because that hit 10 million views on that Saturday night.
it was
So it generated a lot of viewership. So people were cued in. Said the NBA institute that as kind of like a permanent event, Steph versus somebody else or other two 3-point shooters going at it, or is this a one-off situation?
I think they should start including some of these WNBA players in the skills competition, to be honest.
They used to. Remember when it used to be like
They used to do the 3-on-3 where they
Yeah,
would
they
take
used-
a
they-
old head, a
yes.
current player, and a WNBA player.
WNBA. Yeah.
Mhm.
That event was dope as well.
Yeah.
Never forget Dominique Wilkins, them old
Dunking.
It was dunking on Magic
Dunking.
Johnson.
At
I was just
50.
like 50, bro. I was like, yeah, this is why you guys are NBA guys. Different. But I think that event was awesome because it bridged the gap. Any of these games, any of these events that bridge the gap, I think would be dope. I think they just need to scrap the dunk contest until they can find formidable dunkers, or go get pro dunkers. That's all they do. Just because
Okay.
if the stars aren't going to do it, scrap it.
One idea I had was bring back an old school shooter. So, shooting is something that's harder to
Bring
die
Ray out.
off. It's left that.
Ray out.
Bring Ray Allen back. Bring Reggie Miller back. Like do a legend
Yeah,
versus.
get Reggie Miller off the mic and bring him in.
Wow. Yeah, I'm just saying, do a legend versus future legend. Like have them and do that one off. Like
Yeah,
think
I
that'd be
like
great.
that when they would do the city thing though, where they had all three. I don't think they have done it.
No, I
yet.
think that's dope too. I think that's
Yeah.
dope too.
But what you're talking about is like reaching something back to bring somebody. I think that'd be dope as well.
Bring Mark Price back.
Hey,
The problem is that the WNBA season isn't crossing over with the NBA season anymore because they shortened it.
it's not. Yeah, because they're off season right now. So
Yeah.
and a lot of them play
So
So
overseas.
Sabrina
Is that the only
almost
reason
beat
Sabrina
Steph.
lost?
Sabrina almost beat Steph, and she was in off season. She hadn't been playing basketball for how long?
All right. Okay, guys.
But it's
I'm gonna reserve my comments. I don't want to be canceled.
Oh, okay.
Dame, though, back to back, baby.
Kenny? Hans Smith?
Back to back.
Hans Smith?
No MPJ here.
Listen.
By the way, in
back to
OT,
back,
OT, I
baby.
do want to bring that up. I want to bring up the Kenny Smith and OT, by the way.
Gotcha. Any last thoughts, guys, before we sign off?
We'll still watch next year.
Make
listen,
make
man.
the NBA All-Star Weekend great again. Get those happen.
I'm a glutton for punishment, man.
make A
I-
great again.
I watched every single one.
Grade A
Every single
masochist.
one. I am.
I save it for the OT. I got an idea I want to toss to you guys.
Gotcha. All right, guys. You heard it. We got a great OT coming up, so please tune in. It's over on our YouTube channel, so check out our OT for additional content. As always, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. See you guys next time.
What's up, guys, and thanks for listening. I want you to do two things for me right now. One, give this episode a thumbs up, and two, be sure to subscribe to our channel. You can also follow us on all the socials at the 3on3 Podcast and send us an email at the 3on3podcast@gmail.com. We appreciate you, and tune in next week.